Good morning, classmate, and especially to our beautiful instructor. We are here in Erosin Eco Park to make the first vlog in science. The first topic to be tackled is Mesoamerica civilization, the complex of indigenous culture that developed in parts of Mexico and Central America to Spanish exploration and consequence in 60th century, and the first organization of its kingdom and empires, the sophistication of its monuments and cities, and the extent of refinement of intellectual accomplishment. The Mesoamerican civilization, along with the comparable indigenous civilization further the south, constitute a new world compartment to those ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and China.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kenneth F. Del Valle. My topic is about Chinese civilization. Foundation of the Chinese civilization. The Chinese have built a civilization that has lasted longer than any other in the world. In 5000 BC, the Chinese lived in the fertile Huanghe River Valley. In the 1700 BC, invaders called the Shang entered their valley. These invaders built the first permanent organized civilization. Since the Shang takeover, China has mostly been ruled by dynasties. The founder of the Ming Dynasty brought China under the rule later. His grandson rebuilt the capital and renamed it Beijing. He also built the palace complex called Forbidden City. The city got got its name because only the rulers and a few officials could enter it. In one in 1664, the Manchus invade China, reacting to Qing dynasty. This lasted until 1911. Achievement of the dynasty. China has given the world some important inventions such as paper, um, pottery, pottery called porcelain, and silk cloth. The process of making silk has very profitable industry. Caravans carried the precious cloth to Europe and Southeast Asia along a route called the Silk Road. Other traders carried porcelain, tea, and pieces. Travelers on the Silk Road faced danger from robbers, bad weather, lack of water, and sickness. The Chinese development from a writing during the Shang Dynasty, the Great Wall, and the Grand Canal were important feat of construction. Religion and philosophy. Today, the Chinese belief system includes elements of three important religions. Confucius' thought and moral character was important. He said that individuals should be responsible for their society. He also believed that rulers should treat their people with care and kindness. Confucius' ideas guide and Chinese bu- bureaucracy and in which different departments run different parts of the government. Lao Tzu developed Taoism. He believed in a force that guided the universe, which the name Tao, or way of nature. Buddhism made his way from India to China in the 8 200 200s. Buddhism teach people how to escape from suffering. And that is my topic, China civilization.
Good morning, my name is Daniel Gatasela and my topic is Ancient India Civilization. The Indus River Valley Civilization. The Harappan civilization developed around 2500 BC. Its center was the rich farmland along the Indus River. This civilization ended around 1700 BC. Around the same time, Aryans came to South Asia from Russia. Over time, Aryans and people of the Indus River Valley created a new culture. The Aryans brought new technology and technology, animals, and ideas to South Asia. They also discovered iron in the or in in the Ganges River Valley as the Aryan learned to grow rice and use iron plows. They began to settle in towns, better iron weapons, and the introduction of the horse helped the Aryans rule northern India. Hinduism, a way of life. The people of the people of ancient India developed Hinduism, the ideas of karma, karma reincarnation are central to this religion. Karma is the idea that a person's action determine what will happen after his or her death. Reincarnation is the idea that after death a person's soul is reborn into different body. Each person's status in life is determined by his or behavior in previous lives. Hindus believe the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth occurs many times. One of the main characters of Hinduism in the caste system, each person is born into particular case for his her life. Case determined person, job, marriage, partner, and friends. Today, the government is trying to reduce the case system's influence of society. The Maurya and Gupta dynasty Gupta dynasties. The Maurya and Gupta dynasties in India, important contribution that still affect in Indian life. The first Indian empire was the Maurya dynasty, 324 to 180 324 to 185 BC. The emperor Ashoka created a unified government. The Mauryans were known for sandstone carvings and sculpture. The Gupta dynasty AD 320 to 500 ruled during India's golden age in science, art, and literature. Hindu and and Buddhist believes inspired artists. Sanskrit literature blossomed during the Gupta dynasty. The Gupta dynasty was one of the early civilizations that developed in concept of zero. Gupta mathematician also developed the numerals we use today. And that's my topic for today. Thank you.
Maya society. The first people to occupy the Yucatan Peninsula were hunters and gatherers who arrived some 11,000 years ago. These nomadic people lives in small family bands. Around 2500 BC, they started cultivating maize and abandoned a nomadic way of life to settle in village surrounded by cornfields. Maya created arable lands by using a slash and burn technique to clear the forest. They planted maize and secondary crops such as bean, squash, and tobacco. In the highlands to the west, they traced the slopes and mountainside. In the lowlands, they cleared the jungle for planting. After a period of 2 years, they moved their fields to new location, allowing the old fields to lie fallow for 10 years before using them.
They live in a small village consisting of household compounds occupied by extended families. Their thatched shed-proof house were usually one-room huts and walls of interwoven wooden poles covered with dried mud. These huts were used primarily for sleeping. Daily chores such as cooking took place outdoors in the central communal compound. The division of labor between men and women was clearly defined. The men looked after building huts and caring for the cornfields, and women prepared food, made clothing intended to the family's domestic needs. These ancient farming methods and family tradition have persisted over the centuries and continue to be followed in many rural communities today.
Good morning, my name is Jelix Barabicho and my topic is West African culture in daily life. West African culture included village life, trading centers, and oral history. Family relationships were also important, where Africans organized their societies by kinship groups and clans. In most villages, people made their living from farming. Some people, however, did specialized work such as herding or ironworking. Ironworking allowed Africans to improve their tools. Their tools helped them produce more goods and grow wealthier. The increase in wealth and population lead to the rise of cities and the growth of trade. Some individuals who gained controls in complex trade system become kings, and various people of West Africa had no written language. Storytellers called grudge passed down their history. The Empire of Ghana, a trade system that crossed the Sahara, created wealth that led to the rise of the Ghana Empire in West Africa. People in North Africa and deposits of salt. People in West Africa had large deposits of gold. Each group wanted to others group products, so traders crossed the desert using camel caravans. The king of Ghana grew wealthy from taxing this trade. This wealth allowed Ghana to conquer other peoples and becomes an empire. Traders from North Africa brought the religions of Islam to Ghana. Some of Ghana's rulers became Muslim. Muslim advisors gained much influences in the empire. In the 11th century, a Muslim group from North Africa attacked Ghana and weakened it. The Emperor of Mali. After Ghana's decline, two other West African trading empires followed. Mali formed when a chief named Sundiata captured Ghana's old capital. He continued the gold salt trade. Sundiata developed the great city of Timbuktu. Another famous ruler of Mali was Mansa Musa, who made a pilgrimage to Mecca when he returned to Mali. He added that Timbuktu's glory and expanded the empire. Years later, some Ugric peoples began to rebel against Mali. Also, Regamon captured part of this territory, and the Shanghai people tried to form their own kingdom. Finally, the succeeded under the leader Sani Ali. Later, Aisha Muhammad became a ruler of Songhai. He organized the government and spread Islam. The rulers that followed him were weak. The Songhai Empire collapsed soon after Moroccan forces captured some of their cities.
Good morning, everyone. This is Douglas Polo, and my topic is African civilization. First, the growth of coastal trading cities like West Africa, Central and Southern Africa were trading regions. Rainforests cover much of Central Africa. Grassland is spread across large areas of southern Africa. The Bantu people from West Central Africa migrated into Central and Southern Africa. In East Africa, Bantu people set up farming villages and trading posts. Traders carried goods from Africa, Arabia, Persia, and India across the Indian Ocean. Great trading cities arose on the eastern coast of Africa. Arab traders settled in this settled in these cities. A new language called Swahili developed, which was a Bantu language with Arabic words. Arab traders also brought their religion of Islam to East Africa. As in West Africa, many government officials were Muslims.
Empire.
The, the second is empires built on gold and trade. The southern African empires of the Great Zimbabwe and Motapa were built on trade. A Bantu people called the Sona built settlements called Zimbabweans. The largest one was called the Great Zimbabwe. It held a structure called the Great Enclosure that may have been where rollers lived. The Great Zimbabwe the Great Great Zimbabwe gained wealth from taxing the gold traders who crossed its territory. This wealth gave it power. The empire declined in the 5th century. Historians do not know why. As Great Zimbabwe fell, the Motapa Empire arose the north. Its founder, Motota, led an army that conquered many people. The Motapa Empire also gained wealth and power from trade. It lasted until Portuguese people from Europe conquered the area. The third, the Congo Kingdom. A Bantu people called the Congo set up the kingdom on the west coast of Africa. They conquered people who lived around the lands on the Congo River. The kingdom was split into provinces that had to pay taxes to the king. In the 1480s, Portuguese explorer arrived in Congo. At first, the two groups had good relations. They treated with each other. The Congo king Afonso I adopted many European beliefs and customs. He began to trade enslaved Africans to the Portuguese, who put them to work on a sugar plantation. The Portuguese demanded that Congo supply more slaves. Afonso protested to the king of Portugal, but the demands did not stop. The slave trade caused a problem between Congo and Portugal. However, Congo grew weak and had to depend on Portugal for help.
West Africa, the Empire of Mali. After Ghana declined, two other West African trading empires followed. Mali formed when a chief named Sodiata captured Ghana's old capital. He continued salt trade. Sundiata developed the great city of Timbuktu. Another famous ruler of Mali was Mansa Musa, who made a pilgrimage to Mecca. When he returned to Mali, he added Timbuktu's glory and expanded the empire. Years later, some conquered peoples began to rebel against Mali. Also, nomads captured parts of territory. The Songhai people tried to form their own kingdom. Finally, they succeeded under the leader Sani Ali. Later, Askia Muhammad became ruler of Songhai. He organized the government and spread Islam. The rulers that followed him weak. The Songhai Empire collapsed soon after Moroccan forces captured some of their cities.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dasilio. My topic is China contribution to society. The early invention were the abacus shadow clock, kites in the Kangming lantern. As an astronomically advanced civilization, the ancient Chinese first recorded observation of comets, solar eclipse, and supernova, the four greatest invention of the ancient Chinese, were printing, paper making, gunpowder, and the compass. Ancient Chinese made great advance in metallurgy. For example, 2,300 years ago, no one Europe of the Middle East could meet one ounce of iron. Meanwhile, the Chinese were replicate this feat. More invention of the ancient Chinese included the compass, invented in China, used to apply ping shong to building. Bahua, paper, the first stone of immortality. The Chinese also learned how to drill for natural gas. They invented rowcraft farming, silk, lane, rudders, wheelbarrows, and umbrellas. They traded along the Silk Road as well as stranded with Europe, India, Persia, and written instead. Yes, this all correct, and so on and on. Thank you.